Hello, I'm Celso Castro-Bolinaga. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Biological and Agricultural Engineering at North Carolina State University, and today I would like to show you a sneak peek of our Science Collaborative project, which seeks to generate an improved understanding of sediment dynamics for the Rachel Carson Reserve in North Carolina. This project is also in collaboration with the North Carolina Coastal Reserve, Virginia Tech, and the Virginia Institute of Marine Science. This project focuses on the Rachel Carson Reserve, which is located in the southeastern part of the state of North Carolina and is managed by the North Carolina Coastal Reserve as part of the Division of Coastal Management under the Department of Environmental Quality. As you can see in the picture to the left, the reserve is located across the historic town of Beaufort in Carteret County. It is bounded by the North River to the east and the Newport River to the west. Both of these rivers drain water and sediment to the Atlantic Ocean through the Beaufort Inlet, which you can see located south of the reserve. Over the past 60 years, significant shoreline erosion has occurred on the western end of Shackleford Banks, as you can see in the picture located in the top right corner. This amount of shoreline erosion has caused an increase in width of the Beaufort Inlet from approximately 4,000 feet in 1964 to nearly 8,000 feet in 2020. This increasing width of the Beaufort Inlet had a significant impact on the sediment dynamics at and around the reserve. The latter is clearly evidenced by changes in the shoreline of Bird Shoal over the same time period, which you can see in the picture located in the bottom right corner. Therefore, the objective of this project was to generate an improved understanding of how the observed shoreline changes have impacted sediment dynamics at and around the reserve, while simultaneously harnessing this knowledge for enable predictions of how future shoreline changes may contribute to impact sediment dynamics in this area. We have identified two types of end users for this project. The primary end user is the North Carolina Coastal Reserve. They are directly engaged as part of the research team by contributing time, expertise, and other resources to the effective implementation of the technical approach. The secondary end users include the town of Beaufort, Cape Lookout National Seashore, the Carteret County Shoreline Protection Office, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Chris Bass Engineering, and North Carolina Extension. As you can see, it includes a variety of partners from the reserve, from local municipalities to federal agencies. And all of these secondary end users are affected by how sediment is moving at and around the reserve. For example, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, they are in charge of maintaining a navigation channel between the Atlantic Ocean and the port of Morehead City. And the way that they maintain this channel is by dredging sediment out of the areas surrounding the reserve and then displace it. So they are interested in knowing how these changes in the Beaufort Inlet and how changes within the reserve are basically affecting the efficiency of the dredging that they are performing on a frequent basis. To accomplish our objective, the technical approach is based on two main components, a field characterization component and a numerical modeling component. The field characterization is looking to understand how water is moving around the reserve, as well as to understanding the characteristics of the sediment to quantify the forces that are needed for its transport. You can see a couple of examples of the type of devices that we're going to use in the field. The one on the top is an ADCP, which is an acoustic Doppler current profiler used to measure flow velocities and the bathymetry of the channel. And then on the bottom, you can see two pieces of equipment that we use to measure sediment strength. So the blue drop and the mini jet device. And those two pictures in the bottom are actually in the Rachel Carson Reserve as part of a previous collaborative effort that we had at the very beginning of our conversations with the staff. The second part of the technical approach, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the numerical modeling component. And what we're going to do with this component is basically understand what we're seeing and measuring in the field, build a numerical model around this information, and then use the numerical model to understand how the system will respond when we are trying to explore conditions that are unknown or conditions that are extreme, like in the case of hurricanes. The two pictures that you see related to the numerical modeling are the main boundaries that we are preliminarily setting in the reserve, as well as some of the available incomplete data, for example, from NOAA, that we're actually going to complement with the field measurements that we're collecting in the field. Our collaborative approach is based on the two levels of end users that were identified before. We're going to have much more frequent interactions with the North Carolina Coastal Reserve, as they are part of the research team, and they will actively contribute time, expertise, and other resources to the effective implementation of the technical approach. This will give the primary end user the opportunity to directly and frequently provide feedback during our meetings. The secondary end users, formed by the group of entities that I showed you a couple of slides before, will be engaged through the formation of a working group that will receive quarterly progress report from the research team and will meet with us face-to-face or virtually twice a year. And this will give the team not only the opportunity to get feedback about the measurements of the numerical modeling efforts, but also to make new connections with different members of these engaged partners of the reserve. Overall, this project will provide the reserve staff with, first, a functional numerical model that will allow the reserve to improve their quantitative and predictive understanding of sediment transport processes in the area. And second, will vulnerability index maps that will allow to understand not only the magnitude of these processes that they are predicting, but also the likelihood of these processes actually taking place. The idea of these vulnerability maps is that they are going to be used for effective resilient planning of this area. As you can see in the bottom of the slide, the reserve has an ongoing effort called the Resiliency Hub, where we hope to contribute not only the model, but the maps and all of the relevant data that we collected in the field to enhance the effort that is already being performed. With this, I finalize my sneak peek, and I look forward to continue sharing the results of this project with you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out.